You are the product. You, Mr. Sports Fan, are the way Mr. Sports League makes their money. The league makes money off of you through a variety of different revenue streams. First, maybe you own a few jerseys. That's jersey and merchandise sales. Then maybe you go to 2 or 3 games a year. That's ticket sales. And the third way is when you watch a game regularly, ads. They're everywhere. In between the game, on the broadcast, on the court, around the court, on the jerseys, behind home plate, on the stadium, in the stadium, even on the logo in the World Series, there's an ad. The time that you spend watching this game is a statistic that the league shows to Mr. Streamer or Mr. Network, and they say to them, you are going to make money because all these sports fans are watching. The league then says, we'll sell you the rights to show this game. You spend the money hiring people, producing it, putting it on your network, and then sell the ads for that game, and we'll get a cut of that too. So now, Mr. Sports League, NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, MLS, the American Cornhole Association, here are their revenue streams: jerseys, tickets, ad sales, and TV rights. That's it, right? But what if I told you, Mr. Sports League, there's another way to get Mr. Sports Fan to spend on your league? Because when he's sitting on the couch and watching the game, tonight he hasn't paid for a ticket and he hasn't bought a jersey today. But he could be spending the same amount of money that he would have on the ticket and the jersey right here on the couch while he's just opening up his phone. Not only that, but once he puts that money in the phone game, because of the investment that he has in it, he's watching more closely. More views means more money for the rights to show the game for Mr. Streamer. More views means that the ad companies spend more money for their little 30-second spot. This little phone game is a whole new revenue stream for the league to make money on you. That revenue stream is called gambling, and it's taken over. Sports betting wasn't legal in the United States until a 2018 Supreme Court ruling, and since then, many states have legalized the practice. As we've discussed, betting makes every stakeholder in sports leagues a tremendous amount of money. But when it's fully embraced, it comes with major ramifications that are being severely overlooked. Today, we're going to go through some of those, as well as some good practices on how you could not lose all your money.
What's this?
It says souvenir.
50 years of sports statistics. Hardly recreational reading material, Marty.
Well, hey, Doc, what's the harm in bringing back a little info on the future? Now, maybe we could place a couple bets.
Marty!
In the film Back to the Future 2, Marty McFly buys a sports almanac in the future to take it back to the past so that he can bet on games that have not happened yet. In this scenario, Marty McFly's gains are theoretically unlimited, and when the sports almanac falls into the hands of the evil Biff, he uses his gambling profits to make the entire town of Hill Valley some hellish landscape. Then a lot more confusing stuff happens, and somehow by the end of the third film, a train can travel back in time. But the point that the sports almanac illustrates is that a sports bet is only fair in a vacuum. While time travel is impossible, there are other ways to gain an edge. One of the ways is to pay a player off so that your bet hits and get them to throw the game. Listen here, Pablo Sanchez. It's in both of our best interest if you throw this backyard baseball game. Another way gamblers can gain an unfair edge is if the player themselves tells you if their under is going to hit. This is exactly what happened to Jontay Porter. An anonymous bettor bet $80,000 one night that his under in rebounds would hit. Porter subsequently went out early in the first quarter with a fake illness so that the bet would cash, but the sportsbook noticed that this bet was highly irregular, contacted the league, the bet was never cashed, and Porter was banned for life. While the punishment is big and the sportsbooks did detect this, what's stopping any other corruption from going on right now if the gains are theoretically unlimited? Because if the gains are theoretically unlimited, then so is the corruption. Here are just a few conspiracy theories that could possibly be happening right now. First, let's say you're an NFL player and you know you guys are about to lose. Your cousin calls you up and says, hey, do you have any edge, any good bets? And you say, yeah, we're going to get smoked by these Carolina Panthers tomorrow. He places, let's say, a $20,000 bet. Now, all of a sudden, you get to Sunday, the game's close, and they throw you a deep ball at the end of the game. Maybe you slow up. Don't take that extra step. Don't give it that extra oomph. And your cousin is $20,000 richer. What about the leagues? They have money tied into these gambling companies. What if the sportsbook calls up the league executive and says, hey, we're going to lose $500 million if the 49ers win the Super Bowl. So make sure the calls go the way of the Chiefs. Could be happening. How would we know? Also, refs. Refs don't make that much money. What if one of them went rogue? What about all the people who work for the team and who have regular day jobs making $60,000, $70,000? You think they don't want to make unlimited money if they can steal their playbook and send it over to some bookie? Basically, with gambling, everyone is corruptible for the right price, and the whole integrity of these sports games can be easily compromised and result in a major scandal. Gambling scandals are different than other kinds of sports scandals. Within sports, you have your political scandals, your player did crime scandals, but a gambling scandal is worse for the game and for fans because it really betrays them. We like to believe that when we're watching the game on the court, above the money, every player is trying to win, except for Ben Simmons. There's a value of winning that brings you joy, and when a player throws a game, it says to you, oh, they don't care about bringing me joy, they're going to actively make me sad for a few extra bucks. This is how fans felt in 1919 when 8 Chicago White Sox players threw the World Series and were banished to only play baseball in Kevin Costner's backyard for eternity. Where did they go to the bathroom? In 1989, it came out that Pete Rose had bet on games he managed for the Cincinnati Reds, and he was banned from baseball for life. The all-time hit king has no plaque in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Finally, in 2024, it came out that Shohei Ohtani's interpreter was placing bets using Ohtani's money. According to federal prosecutors, Shohei had no knowledge of this, and Ipe, the interpreter, never bet on baseball. But this story was quickly thrown under the rug. So you can believe what you want. Pete Rose certainly has his own opinions.
Well, back in the 70s and 80s, I wish I'd have had an interpreter. I'd be scot-free.
So, we've talked about some of the ways that the sports leagues make money on you through gambling. We also talked about some of the ways that a gambling scandal is inevitable. But when the scandal happens, how would the league protect themselves from it where it wouldn't lead to much outrage? The answer to that is buy off the media. And all the sports betting companies have been doing that for the last 5 years. From Pat McAfee to John Boy to Bill Simmons to even the Kelsey brothers, active NFL players. All your favorite shows and podcasts are sponsored by gambling companies. If a scandal did arise, would these people who have made a ton of money being sponsored by these companies really speak out? With the media protecting the leagues and the gambling companies from controversy, the only person in this whole situation left unprotected is you, the product. All the ads are thrown your way. There are irresistible free bet offers to get you hooked. There's just so many gambling ads. It's impossible to avoid. The promotion is suffocating. So how do you manage all that without mortgaging your home on a same-game parlay on the New York Jets?
I know a place where moms can say, any kid.
The first thing that you have to realize is that the gambling app is like Chuck E. Cheese. At Chuck E. Cheese, as a kid, you're paying for the experience of playing the games, not to gain value on winning the tickets for the prizes. As a kid, you might realize this when you're like 9 or 10. You think about, hey, I have 100 tickets. I just bought 20 toy soldiers who cost maybe 4 cents on average. That's not worth the money that my parents paid at the door for me to go to Chuck E. Cheese. But the value was in the fun that you had. So, if it's overall fun to sports bet, even if you lose, do it. For me, this translates to when you do sports betting things together, like Super Bowl boxes or March Madness brackets or fantasy leagues. Those help bring people together. But if you're betting on your own, on Fanduel, on a Tuesday night, on the New York Mets, please call the hotline number. A few other things to pay attention to. When a sports show says there's great value here on this bet, that's a lie. There's no value in sports betting. It's a completely arbitrary and random thing to put your money on. Secondly, sports media is trying to manipulate you to put your money on these games. So when they promote big bets that they made, like $100,000 that Dave Portnoy put on Georgia to win the national championship, that is not a real bet. Dave Portnoy owns the sportsbook which he's placing the bet on. When you see that, he thinks it might drive traffic back to it. So he wins either way. The house always wins. Lastly, just remember, parlays mess with your brain. When you see 3 different things happening, if 2 of them happen, you think you're 67% of the way there. But really, you're still 0% of the way there because all 3 have to happen, and oftentimes they don't. The sportsbooks aren't dumb. The odds are so good, the winnings are so good because the likelihood of 3 or 4 things happening is so much lower than 1 or 2 things happening. So be careful. From 1920 to 1933, alcohol was fully illegal in the United States. But that didn't stop people from drinking. They met in speakeasies, moonshined in the backwoods, sailed boats in international waters, and millions of gallons of whiskey, bourbon, and beer were imported from Canada. Some studies show that alcohol consumption during the Prohibition era actually increased. It was a constitutional amendment so bad that everyone who voted for it immediately changed their mind in less than 15 years. Not a very long time in U.S. politics. Our society still struggles with the question of how much addictive activities or substances should be legal. How much can people regulate their own behaviors and how much the government should intervene? I'm not here to debate that. I am here to note that recent political developments have given the average sports fan a magic, addictive, money-making machine that can be accessed anytime. Just remember to be moderate about it, because there are no safe bets. These games are fickle and unpredictable. Only bet what you can afford to lose. And just remember, you're not the one playing the game. The sports books and the leagues, they're the ones playing the game. And that game is you.